You're listening to the G&D Show with Govinda and Dan of City of Bristol College. If you've got any comments or questions for us to read out on the show, then email us at thegdshowbristol@gmail.com. Again, that's thegdshowbristol@gmail.com. Let's get on with the show. Hello everyone and welcome to the G&D Show. My name is Dan.
And I'm Gigi.
Excellent, and I'm trying to let my cat into the room because he won't stop meowing. Come on then, buddy, in you come. You know what happens when we record. You have to come in here and interrupt everything. Come on, the door's open. Bless him, honestly. He's temperamental. Sorry, everyone. Welcome to the G&D Show. This week, we're going to touch on what happens after college. Like, we're going to go into a bit of that and discuss that element. And Gigi, you've got a quote of the day, don't you?
Yeah, I do actually.
Take it away.
For the first time, I've got like a menu of quotes, and I'm thinking, okay, what would be great for our viewers? So I'm going to go. This sounds a little bit unlike me, but I'm going to use it anyway because I quite like this. So this is by Confucius, who's a Chinese philosopher, and he said, "A man who does not plan long ahead will find trouble at his door."
Ooh. A man who does not plan long ahead
will find trouble at his door.
Go on, okay.
And I do rather like Confucius. I used to hate him when I was a kid, when I was doing Chinese classical philosophy, because he was a bit too strict for me, Dan. Yeah,
he used to kick balls in my head. Yeah,
I used to absolutely hate him. I used to like Lao Tzu and all that kind of stuff. You know, the Tao Te Ching and going with the flow kind of thing. Yeah.
I'll be honest, I don't know what you're talking about. I know Confucius, but I don't know the other guys. Yeah. But sure, yes.
I mean, what this says to me is I think me and yourself, we talk about goal setting quite a lot, and we effectively use it in our own lives. But we also wise enough now at our good old age now to realize that planning is, goal setting is not for everyone. Yeah, but that does not mean that you cannot get excited and passionate and enthusiastic about your life without goals. So, in which case, I like the idea of planning. Yeah. Planning can actually be a fun task. For example, yesterday I was planning for something in my own time, and actually I drew out a map. Would you believe it or not, Dan? And that was my planning, and I put little stick figurines around and stuff, and that was my way of planning. So planning doesn't need to be, you need a goal right now. And remember, your goal's all about your values, but that's a topic for another time me and Dan will cover. But yeah, so what do you get from this, Dan?
All right, so I'm actually going to reference a conversation I had with a learner at the college about a week or two ago, where it was about identifying effectively this plan, right? And you're right, like goal setting, I don't know if it's because of the industry within. I mean, I don't know if learners themselves hear goal setting and they kind of roll their eyes like, oh, cringe, why? Because it does have a real, I think, cringy energy about it when you hear it too much, like anything does. Yeah. But when I think about goal setting for myself, I tend to think about how I want to feel about something. I tend to think about how I want to experience something, not necessarily be it like a material thing. It's not about, I want to have this hard target of X, Y, Z. I'm more a case of how do you want to be experiencing yourself and the world at this stage? And that actually helps me plan in a far more organic and in a way holistic way, where I can go, well, it doesn't mean that this exactly has to be like this. And it doesn't have to, it kind of takes away this element of me having to control everything so desperately, but actually allows me to go, right, I can experience some of these things a lot sooner. And I can look at the way that the next maybe few months or couple of years can go so that I can experience that, that thing that I'm going for. So a goal doesn't have to be this set hard load of targets, which I know kind of fits into a coaching framework, doesn't it? SMART targets and grow and model and all this stuff. But actually, if we're just going for how do you want to experience life? How do you want to experience the next couple of years? Do you want to have fun? Do you want things to be deep and explorative? Do you want things to be an emotional journey? Or do you want them to be much a physical journey? And let that be a kind of target and a plan, because that way, it takes away this idea of this having to, follow a strict regime and routine and stuff, which some people, again, will be completely put off by. Because I certainly, for the learners, they're just about to leave college, man. They've just left the strict regime and the kind of imposed element of do this, do that, do this way. And they're moving far more into that sense of independence. So maybe they want to step away from a strictness and move more into a fluid sense, an organic sense, a human sense, if you like, of how they want to experience the world.
I like that.
So this week we got a different kind of ad. We're not promoting ourselves. We actually got an email from Fergal Clancy, who's head of the student union at the college. And it turns out the college are working with one of our key employers, Wessex Water, and they're setting up a work placement program for our BAME students. The application deadline for the students is the 28th of May, and it's a careers insight week. This will include construction, engineering, science, and business. There's skills development, there's mindset work, there's site visits, and it seems like a fantastic opportunity for those students to basically get an insight into a career that they could possibly be interested in going into. So again, the application deadline is the 28th of May. If you're interested in this, or you know someone who might be interested in this, then please reach out to Amy Archer. I'll give the email in a second. And of course, you'll get more details from her. So the email address to contact is amy.archer@cityofbristol.ac.uk. That's Amy Archer, or amy.archer@cityofbristol.ac.uk. That actually sounds pretty dope, I have to say. That sounds really cool. I kind of want to find out more about that. So if you're interested in that, contact Amy Archer, amy.archer@cityofbristol.ac.uk. Let's get back to the show. So then, to the bulk of this podcast, talking about post-college, I am aware that usually I just go off on one with this. Gigi, please, you speak for longer than me. Tell us things. Talk about things. Post-college, what happened with you? What was life like? What did you do? What are the opportunities? What's different now? Shut me up.
Post-college, interestingly enough, it's a really good one, actually. Because a lot of people at the moment have been asking about it, especially the students me and you have worked with recently who are now moving on to pastures new after the exams, right? So a couple of things. I'll unpack with the recent student feedback and what they've been saying, and of course what happened to me. And you might be surprised. Dan might be surprised as well. I absolutely loved college, and I actually didn't want to leave. Honestly, I would rather have squeezed an extra year if I could, but I couldn't possibly because I did A levels. So there are 2 years and off you go, right? So my time really flew past. Now, I was a little bit of a crossroads then, Dan, because I still had a part-time job. I was working at Marks and Spencer back then and still going to college, which I enjoyed that quite a lot. It was a nice little setup. So now, for the first time, I was in a situation where I could become a supervisor and earn a good amount of money at Marks and Spencer, because they do take care of their staff. And you feel valued. And by the way, this is not an advertisement for Marks and Spencer. Just in case everyone's this guy's on the payroll.
I think it's fair to let people know, for a good employer out there, keep an eye on Marks and Spencer.
Absolutely. If you've got parents who work for Marks and Spencer, obviously it's a big up to them anyway. So, and I was at a situation where I was like, okay, well, I can earn money, a decent amount of money, which I've never done before. And do I go to university, or do I go and get a job, right? Back then, apprenticeships and stuff weren't really around that much. They were, but I think they still had that negative connotation of not really, being academic enough, which I think is absolute rubbish, by the way. So so I was in a position. So actually, believe it or not, I chose not to go to university for 2 years after that. I went straight into a job, and I got promoted as a supervisor for men's suits. Believe it or not. So I'd literally measure people up and get them the right fitting suits, and we had a lovely assortment of it. Actually, I really liked it. I actually liked the way they would put suits together, the whole sartorial element, and the history of blazers and clothes. It was just absolutely amazing. To this day, I'm still very enthusiastic about that stuff. And so I was like, okay, this is a good opportunity. Let's just have a break from academic work, right? A levels were pretty intense for me. We had to do 5 back then. So I just went down getting a job, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And then the timing was right. 2 years later, the right opportunity came up, and I decided to go to university. But it was overwhelming with the choice. And that's what I'm getting a lot of with people is like, well, I'm good at this, but actually I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do a bit of this. And I think it's very hard sometimes, Dan, to just get a clear idea of what you want to do. So I'm going to completely rip off Gary Vaynerchuk,
Okay.
and I'm gonna say something that I think is absolutely beautiful. It's just a golden nugget. So people listening to this who are in a position where they're trying to figure out where they're going to go next, especially at your age, don't figure out what you want to do, but in order to work out what you want to do, go and experience things. Taste things that you find out are actually not good for you in order to work out what's good for you. It's the only way. Because otherwise you could end up in a situation where you're like, I want to go to uni, but you know what? I'm really good at this. I also have a skill. And then all of a sudden we don't do anything. It's like what we said last time, didn't we, Dan? There's too many reasons to procrastinate. So just pick something, just go with it, just choose it, do it with your heart's contention. At least you won't be sitting there wondering what if. Yeah, if it works out for you, fantastic. Good luck to you, and you could have a brilliant and prosperous career. It's not unheard of. Yeah, I'm already seeing people. The beauty lot, for example, there's a lot of great upcoming makeup artists who will come out of that, and I guarantee you they are going to be big. You know, I have confidence in them, right? So they're kind of set now. They're going in that direction. So just choose something, pick something. You know, don't try to put the expectation on you that you have found the thing, you've arrived at it. You're too young at the moment, and that's not me being condescending. That's me just telling you from a practical perspective, having packed a lot of stuff in a very short period of time. Just go out and try something. You'll feel much better, you know. And yes, it might not be the thing, but it might be the thing as well at the same time. So yeah, that's what I would say, Dan. How about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I actually put up a post on TikTok about this very thing where I saw someone put a post about they were being 25 and they're hey, what's behind this door? And they opened it and it was like 30 is 5 years away, and they're like, oh nope, don't want to do that. And I stitched that video because it's fascinating. It's truly fascinating how we view age, and from what lens we view age.
Hmm.
I think when you much younger, it makes so much sense because you're halfway to 30, right? Or you're past your halfway mark to 30, and you think, oh
Yeah.
my god, 13 is ancient, it's so old, or whatever. But I'll tell you now, just as Gigi said, and I know we've actually said this on the show before, that, and I'm kind of taking a segue from where you finished off, Gigi, is 30 is an age where I want to argue, not that it's better than 40 or 50 or anything as you get older. 30 is an age where there's a very, 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 very high chance that you land in a place of such clarity because your 20s are, for the most part, an absolute mess.
Hmm.
And and you haven't, I think in your 20s, it's quite often that you don't really find a solidarity of self. There's still a lot of things that are like the dregs of your teenage years. Not that there's a bad thing, it's just that you're still figuring things out, you're still seeing the world, you're still exploring, you're still kind of trying to do things, trying things out. And it's almost like when you hit 30, it's you land dependent on how your 20s have been. If they've been a mess in terms of you've done a bunch of stuff, you've tried a bunch of things, you failed at a bunch of things, you hit 30 and you're like, something's clicked here. I think I've just had a moment of clarity. I think I'm just gonna go in this direction. And interestingly, when I posted that video, there were a lot of people, even in their 40s and 50s, who were like, yeah, that's basically 30. 30 is where that happens. That's it. That's where it
Hmm.
lands. So when you leave college, I think it's good to have an idea of what you'd like to do. But this is why I also suggest, instead of having this solid thing of like, I'm going to go to uni, I'm going to go into this career, da-da-da-da. If you've got that, if you've identified that, cool, like do that. Absolutely, go at it. But if you haven't, actually, there's no pressure to do that. Because fundamentally, a lot of people will go into their 20s wanting to do a thing, and they might do the thing, but that might not be the thing they end up doing when they're 30. That might not be the same thing they end up doing for the rest of their life. That's just something that they've decided they want to do at that time, right?
Hmm.
And so yeah, the 20s can be a wild old time. I'd actually almost discourage people, not saying it would be a bad thing if you did, but I almost discourage people from kind of rushing things in 20s.
Yeah.
There's almost this race to be like, oh, got to get married, have kids, and blah, blah, blah. Nah, man. If it
Yeah.
doesn't feel like it needs to happen, it doesn't need to happen. Don't let nobody tell you that you need to be married and you need to have kids. Blah, 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 blah. No. If you don't feel like that needs to happen, don't let it happen. Just don't let it happen.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
there is a lot. I mean, I'm telling you from myself now, someone who's, moving into parenthood. I'm actually super grateful. And I think, again, I said this on the show, super grateful for not having kids earlier, because it gave me that freedom to do what I needed to do in my 20s, which was make a whole bunch of mistakes that I could not have made and not learned from had I had a kid. So yeah, I'll say that again. If you want to have kids, I'm not going to stop you from doing that. Go
Absolutely.
for it. Go hell for leather. If you have things that you want to do them. But I'm saying, make sure that you are acknowledging that as you grow into the next stages where the world opens up to you, you have epiphanies and you have these moments of clarity and you're like, oh my God, I think I figured it out now. And, you get into that place. Cool. Like, go into that, live into that, learn it, live into it, do it by all means. Because post-college, you're now going into that stage where, the world is about to open up to you and make itself fully available to you. Not that you might want to do it all, but the world is now available to you. And I cannot, as Gigi said, encourage you enough to taste the fruits of the world's offerings. Some of them will be bitter as hell. Some of them you'll never want to try again. But some of them you'll be like, I vibe with that flavor. I'm going to go with that a few more times. And that's exactly where you start to learn your adult self, your almost your true self, if you like, where you go out there and experience the world. It's truly a magnificent space, and it does, of course, have its downsides without question. But it's truly a magnificent space, and there is no rush. There's no rush. Like, I think I try to think about what the pressure was, because when I left college, I was working in a restaurant part time. And that was great. I actually really, for my age at that time, working in a restaurant was incredible, right? It was exactly what I wanted. I was around people. It was a lively atmosphere. I was around a kind of a culture that I really enjoyed. It was vibrant. I was on my feet a lot. I was active. It was great. I loved it. Actually, where I met my first serious girlfriend as well. So, it was all great. It was a good time. But I know that also, because that was effectively what I was enjoying at the time, there wasn't a picture much of what I actually wanted to experience, what I wanted to do. I got nudged in the direction of doing doing something slightly more extracurricular, and I think that nudge was really powerful. It really helped me go into experiences that I otherwise wouldn't have done. So I think it's a case of, leave college, do find a job, but just broaden your horizons ever so slightly. Give yourself a nudge. Ask yourself what you would like to do. Never mind what you can or can't do. Never mind about what's impossible or outside your reach. Just sit in that sensation of, that's what I'd like to do. Cool. Do the job or find the job, save up, go and do it, right? Make that a reality for yourself, because now you actually have the freedom to do that. I actually even speak to it because after the workshops that we've been doing, Gigi, I'd love to hear how many times this came up. We did the Loci Memory Palace in our catch-up workshop, right? How many, when you did the exercise, how many people brought things like drugs and alcohol to that party that we made up?
Quite a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't have any drugs, but I had every single one was alcohol.
Literally.
Every single one. And you know what the most shocking part of it was? I'm gonna just say it because I like bringing humor to the podcast. Some person made a suggestion that they want 40 bottles of Hennessy.
Yo, I got Hennessy as well.
Yes. I thought Hennessy was something we would drink when we were younger, but that's clearly not the case.
Right? No, absolutely. Yeah,
it's still trendy.
Exactly. It was kind of nice to hear that's still trendy. Now, of course, on the podcast, we have to say we're not condoning drinking at all, but let's be real. We know what you guys do. We know what you do. We're not stupid. So that's also why when we do that exercise, we're expecting the alcohol to come into it.
Yeah.
But here's what I will say, and I will say this with great gravity and great seriousness, that because of the liberties you're given after college and you're allowed after college, there are things that you may go into and take a little bit too much liberty with.
Yeah.
Right? Consider this a warning. Although I will say this was not necessarily a mistake I made. but it is something that I think if I were to start again, I know that you don't want to preach that narrative of, oh, everything happened for a reason, no regrets, yada, yada, yada. But I'm still saying, I think there one of the things that I definitely would have addressed differently if I was born again and tried differently, honestly, was my relationship with alcohol, without question. Because
For sure.
I think it's more just be conscious and aware of when you're consuming, why you're consuming, and how much you're consuming. I'm not saying, I ain't going to tell you not to do it. Like, come on, like, you're going to listen to me. Like, you're going to listen to me going, oh, don't drink, it's bad for you. You're not stupid, But I will say, make sure you're conscious of why, how much, and when. Because at least, if you're practicing an element of resistance, of self-discipline, as you grow up, that will not have so much of a grasp on you. And I think when we go into the big wide world as youngsters and we think that the world is our oyster, we can take what we want and do what we want. And that's great. Again, as Gigi and I both said, practice, do the things, make the mistakes, but be conscious of when the liberties you take start taking liberties on you. It flips. It will flip and you won't notice it's flipped. And it will literally take it and it will have its way with you because it has no conscious. It has no, almost has no agenda. It will just take ownership of you and it will be too late before you realize this happened. So just be wary and conscious of that, of any vice you have, drugs, alcohol, smoking, anything of the things. Just make sure it hasn't got hold of you. I know some of the students, and I think you probably met them as well, Gigi, students who are very busy at the moment doing a lot of things, right? So they've said yes to tasks, they've said yes to jobs, they're doing a lot, they're busy all the time. And now I think a lot of students have already reached a stage where that busyness has taken charge of them. They're not in control of it anymore.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. And I think the same thing can happen in so many things. So I think post-college, that's something that we definitely want to be wary of. Don't let our liberties take liberty with us, because they will. They will. And we may be at that stage, I think, almost too young to realize it's happening. So I just want to invite that thought early on to spot that. And again, I'm not saying don't enjoy yourself. I'm not saying, don't be naughty. I'm just saying, hey, look out for yourself. Be aware of yourself. Literally, be conscious of that, because it will get the better of you before you know it. Definitely,
for sure,
definitely. Yeah. Any more thoughts on it though? Any more thoughts on post college from you, Gigi?
Post college, a couple of things actually. Because I've been mingling a lot with the staff members. I like chatting. I'm a chatty person. Yeah. And I would like to say to our listeners as well, to give them a bit more confidence and a sense of direction and purpose in the right place, right? Is to perhaps book a session or with the careers advisors. Please do that. You know why? Because one thing that City of Bristol College does very well is that they have a phenomenal team, a work experience team. I know that's a little bit separate because that's going to be more for people who are still here, but I still need to mention it because it's applicable. But also our careers advisors are absolutely phenomenal. They work around the clock and so supportive. In fact, some of my students who work with me still to this point, who do coaching, actually work with the careers advisors as well. And we're able to talk to each other about certain things.
Amazing.
So please, because at the end of the day, I think there is this mentality that we are on our own now. Yeah, college has said, ta-da now, and go out in the big wide world. It's all you now. Actually, I don't like that idea because actually it brings a really extremist mentality that you can't talk to people, you can't rely on people, you can't trust people. And that's been Gigi's mission to reverse that in his own personal life. So I'm telling you from a very good space that does not end very well. Okay, you cannot do it all on your own. Please, please, please listen to Gigi. I have been so stubborn in being like that. Yes, it's bared some fruits, but it's not cool. Okay, you can call it a typical blokey thing as well. I don't care. I'm just going to say it for what it is. Okay, but please look out for help. And if you do want to, if you're moving on to pastures new, you've got a brief idea and you'd like to speak to a careers advisor, or maybe you just want to sit down and hash out things so your mind is not so jumbled up and you want some clarity around it, you can sit down with me and Dan. We'd be more than happy to accommodate that.
100%. 100%, absolutely. I know some of the learners have already done that with us, haven't they? Like
exactly, they have.
Yeah, for sure. There's a very good point you raised there. I love the idea of listen to Gigi. It's the Gigi corner. I love it. Um, yeah, the thing about doing it on your own. So, so, so there is a kind of harsh reality. Some of you probably will get this straight away. Actually, I don't need to tell you this, but you're going to learn this. But I think it's going to pop some bubbles, but also point you in a better direction. The concept of independence. I know that there will be this idea that a lot of young people will want to move out. Want to move out of home.
Mm-hmm.
Want to find a job, live by themselves, do their thing. I would recommend and invite, first of all, in so many different facets, getting a group of people together and renting a place together for a number of reasons. Number one, when I first moved into my own place and started renting alone, this was actually in my late 20s, I did not know loneliness like that. I thought I was good by myself. And for those of you who have obviously been in quarantine and stuff like that, you already know that stuff, that's tough. That's tough to sit in, actually. Feeling truly alone. That was difficult. And I don't think I would have done very well with that as a younger person. That's number one. Number two, renting by yourself is very expensive. It is kind of a privilege to be able to rent your own place and live there.
Absolutely.
Because when you recognize, first of all, how many bills there are, and then the fact that they all fall on your head, it's kind of a 0 to 100 situation. Now, again, I don't know exactly what learners I'm speaking to. I don't know if I'm speaking to learners who are kind of already partially sharing bills. I don't know if I'm speaking to learners who are kind of already partially taking care of certain things. If that's the case, then maybe it won't be such of a hit. But if you're living at home with a parent or guardian and you literally do not have to put any investment financially into the household, going from doing that to trying to live by yourself, even actually trying to share a house, can be a bit jarring because you then become aware of how much money actually goes out into just living by yourself. I would do some research, look into like when you look at rent, if it says, and actually I would even say, look at rent where bills aren't included on purpose, because then you've got to consider, okay, so you're paying rent, you're paying phone bill, you're paying council tax, you're paying water bill, you're paying electric or gas or both, right? What else? You're paying internet charge, you're paying your phone bill. I think I've said that already. You might want to pay house insurance, just so that should anything happen, it's covered. God, what else? There are other things I'm trying to think of that have lost me completely. But those
license, maybe.
TV license, TV license, exactly. Which I think is like £100 and something a year.
Yeah, it's quite expensive.
It is. Then you're thinking about other things. Do you pay for Spotify? Do you pay for Netflix? Do you want all these things, right? Do you have a console? Do you need to pay for an annual subscription and multiplayer online? All these things add up. And we haven't even got into buying food every week and so on and so forth. These things add up so fast. So this isn't for me to kind of go, don't do it, or I'm putting you off. What I'm wanting you to do is consider that. And that's why I say I would invite you to look at a bunch of friends that you honestly get on with and then try and live with them. Invite people, look at the people and talk to them and go, do you want to live together? Do you think we could do it? Because also actually there's a huge difference as well between being friends with someone, hanging out with them every now and then, and living with someone.
Oh no.
There's a huge difference. The sun shines so bright on so many things when you move in with someone that you're friends with. It's mad. It can be great. It can be absolutely amazing. It really can be, because obviously if they're your good mate, your best mate, then it's a blast. It's fantastic. It's a good time. But it's like it's different. It's different. That's all I'll say. It's different. That's what I would add to that part.
It's a good point.
Yeah, for sure. I think independence is incredibly rewarding. It's a powerful thing to experience, but at the same time, with that responsibility. Wait, no, what is it? What's the phrase? What's the quote? With that power comes great responsibility. Yeah, no, that's not the quote. That's not it. I'm gonna say with that responsibility comes a lot more to consider, which isn't as powerful as the first quote at all. But yeah, it needs to be said. It needs to be said nonetheless. Anything else to share there, Gigi? Anything you're kind of thinking of?
No, not really, to be fair. I think we've in a very short period of time, we've done the usual, and we've covered many different angles and different areas. But yes, I'm glad you brought that up, because moving on is actually about transitioning over into adulthood. So yeah, we completely forgot that yes, moving out on your own is a thing. But actually, not that I'm a nosy Parker, but there's a few of my students who I coach who are actually in long-term relationships, and so they are probably a little bit more clearer with how they are going to move forward with renting an accommodation. And you're right, Dan, I didn't realize this myself, obviously having moved to Bristol in November. Well, not so much that Bristol's expensive, it can be and it can't be, just like any other city, but you're right, I did realize how living on your own can be very expensive, and so no, I totally get that.
I'm gonna quickly. There's like a minute left of this segment, and actually, I'm gonna open up a can of worms by saying this with a minute left.
Sure.
But actually, also, it raises the question of what even is adulthood.
That's true. That's really true.
I know what you meant when you said it, but
Mm,
actually, you can say that word, and so many people think of different things. But what
yeah,
is adulthood? What is being an adult,
absolutely.
really? I don't even know. I still don't know if I'm doing it.
No, that's true. Yeah,
I still
definitely.
don't know if I'm doing it. Like,
Yeah, and it
so
comes at
what is it?
different stages as well. I think. I mean,
Right?
we can talk about this in many different ways, but I think it's fair to say, I think before anyone even arrives to maturity, there's a good sense of who they are.
Mm.
Individuality, and I don't mean individuality as in I'm separate from everyone, leave me alone. No, I
Yeah.
mean as in I like these things. This is my expression. I'm comfortable with who I am. I like art. I like books. What do you like? Like I always find that people who have found themselves, and not, I don't mean in the philosophical sense, like go and
Mm.
look for yourself. I just mean comfortable with who they are. They like what they do, right? They have hobbies and passions. I
Yeah.
almost find those people to be the most curious people, actually, with other people. They like to ask questions. They're interested. Okay, well, I notice you do that. Why do you do that? So that's what I mean, and that can come at any stage. I can't say, and Dan can't say that this happens at this age, and that's boring. It can happen at different stages, right?
Yeah.
So who knows? That's all I'm saying. Don't think about it too much, I'd say, but just enjoy the process because, ladies and gentlemen, you have a life to live still. Don't
Mm.
forget that.
I actually, no, I'm gonna throw my oar in on this one.
Maybe go for it.
Well, it's when I look at the conversation around being an adult and a mature person, a responsible person, and actually, I spot a pattern of a person, and when we call certain behaviors childish, right, which is also kind of bad in a way because we're putting a
Yeah,
judgment, a negative judgment on the word child.
yeah,
But I think in terms of what you're saying there as well, in terms of the individuality, basically, an adult, not how can I put it? The characteristic of being an adult is technically just being self aware and by extension being aware of yourself in a space with other people who also have their selves,
yeah.
right? Knowing that
Absolutely.
you have an impact on other people,
Hmm.
knowing that your thought, like you said, your thoughts are your own, your feelings are your own, they are not
Yeah,
everyone else's, and
beautifully put.
therefore been not necessarily thinking that everyone thinks the same, not thinking that everyone thinks the same way you do, that everyone's going to laugh at the same jokes, but also acknowledging that the things you say and do will have an impact on someone else.
Yeah,
And that self-awareness of acknowledging when you might do something wrong, choosing a different action, choosing a different thought, choosing a different word. In my head, that kind of is a form of being an adult because of the tenets of what adulthood come with, like responsibility and maturity and emotional intelligence, those sorts of things. That's
mm.
my definition anyway. I
I
don't know what
love
anyone
that.
else would
I
say,
love
but
that.
that's kind of how
Yeah,
I would picture at this point. Everyone else has their own definitions though.
absolutely.
That seems to make the most sense to me.
Yeah, definitely. I think it is part of our own mission. I mean, like I said, I'm not forcing anyone to do this, but and especially our youngsters as well, but those who are interested in psychology, because I've got a strong cohort in College Green who love psychology. I would
Mm,
definitely say that one of the things that we can do and will do anywhere naturally in life to mature, whatever that means, is to individuate as healthy individuals or individuals.
yeah.
Individuation is such an important psychological process and step in our life, which, by the way, can happen at any point. Some people go for it younger. Some people it takes a long time. Like I said, there are clear cut times where it can happen, and if you are interested in reading up on that, just a mere Google search will give you some amazing hits. But
Yeah.
I do think that's a very important step. And you see the byproducts of that, like you said, someone who can walk in a room and is not concerned about um, you know, how people will respond to his opinions or her opinions, not in a rude way, but as in I'm allowed to express myself in a respectful way, but not worry too much about how that person's going to perceive that. But also I'm mature enough to tone it down and say, well, actually, that could be not so helpful to someone or could be quite mean, right? And also this person who regulates their own emotions and their nervous system, you know, without reliance on other people, because that can happen. And I think that's another topic for another place. I've been reading a lot about that, about, you know, somatic reactions and how we are wired to replicate that. So if someone's feeling sad, naturally you would feel sad just to show them empathy. Yeah, your nervous system will regulate that. But a healthy individual is able to do that, but also disconnect from it afterwards as well. You know, not in a cold way, but just, this is cool. Like, you're a human being. You're going through something. I understand that. I see you. I hear you. My nervous system, because it's functioning normally, will repeat back to you what I'm seeing and feeling, because we're humans. This is our experience together. Yeah. So that kind of thing.
You're listening to the G and D Show, and there's a wonderful opportunity for all of our Black, Asian, and minority ethnic students here at the college for a Careers Insight Week taking place from the 28th of June to the 2nd of July this year. It's in cooperation with Wessex Water, one of the college's key employers, and they're setting up work placement programs for those students. The application deadline for the students is May 28th. So if you're interested in that, sounds like something you might want to get involved in, then reach out to Amy Archer at amy.archer, that's AMY.ARCHER at cityofbristol.ac.uk for more information. Let's get back to the show. I actually don't have a would you rather ready.
Oh no, neither do I actually.
I'm not ready at all.
About it.
I'm not even remotely ready.
That's okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's go with what's coming up. So, get your phone and let's literally just search for two right now. Right? Let's do it.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. Is that okay?
I'll take a look now and see what we can find, because I actually had one in my head that I wanted to throw at you.
Okay, I've got two funny ones.
Okay. Hang on. Okay, I'm gonna look for college-based ones, but I had one, so I might keep on to that one so that I still ask you, because I kind of still want to ask you that one and see. Right, here we go. So I mean, this is okay, yeah, all right, cool. Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Fantastic. Right. So just to let you know, I'm not going with the college theme. I'm going to lighten it up a little bit because we've spoken about some heavy stuff. So let's have a bit of a laugh and a giggle right now. So, okay, right.
Okay.
Would you rather, okay, right. Would you rather, Dad?
Oh, God.
Would you rather have, okay, I need to compose myself here.
Please.
Would you rather have a mullet haircut or a ponytail haircut for the rest of your life?
Ponytail, without question. No, a ponytail. I mean, okay. I kind of ponytail my hair already, but a mullet.
Yeah, of course you do.
And also, I mean, with my locks as well, I don't think a mullet is gonna. That would musty me up something fierce.
It would.
I would. No.
Okay.
No. Gosh, no. Yeah, I would look like I smell.
Oh no. Okay.
I'm not doing that. No. Okay. So yeah, no, ponytail absolutely. How about you?
Yeah, ponytail definitely. I wouldn't be able to do a mullet. In fact, mullet. Sorry if anyone's got one. It's just not flattering. Yeah, it's just not. Sorry, you got to say it as it is.
Sorry if you've got a mullet, but you suck. Yeah. No. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, right. a flat top definitely, but not a mullet.
Mm-hmm. Oh, can I do? No, I can't do that. Okay, right. So the one that I found. Oh, I've lost it. Where is it? Here we go. Would you rather have your let's say you are back at college, right? Would you rather have your college tutor room be constantly messy or constantly really smelly?
Oh, that's a it's a really hard one because I hate both things, to be honest with you.
Ah, you go.
Yeah, you've given me a little bit of a phobia. I've got a bit of an ick now listening to that. All right, I would definitely have to say then, Dan, because I like good smelling stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to say, unfortunately, it's making me grimace. It has to be an untidy tutor room.
Okay. Well, when you say untidy, though, what are you picturing?
I'm kind of picturing books all over the place, kind of a chaotic classroom or tutor room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay. All
Not
right.
good.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going the same way as well, only because I'm going to the extremes where the mess is like, there's like rotting fruit on the floor for some
Oh,
reason,
yeah.
and yeah, it's like dead animals and stuff. It's not even classroom related. It's an absolute mess. It's
No,
like a proper
I
mess, but
get what you mean.
it doesn't smell because I imagine even if the room was tidy and you walked into a room and it smelt like that mess, I would want to be sick because it would get
Yeah.
right in the back of your throat, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And it would make you gag, and you can't focus with the gag. You can't do it.
No, you really can't.
No. So that would be, yeah, I'm with you on that one. Let's both share a terribly messy um, dorm room,
Rather that,
college room.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
right. So this one. Would you would you rather listen to an annoying laugh for a whole day or get tickled for an hour?
Oh God, I'd rather. Oh, the thing is, I hate being tickled, even though I do laugh. I giggle like a
Oh
little
no.
schoolgirl. I do, I really do. But I, but I. That laugh would stay with me forever. I think I'd rather be tickled for an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, whack a film on.
Mm,
Just try and watch a film while I'm getting tickled.
okay.
Yeah, that would be my thing.
Okay.
That's what I would go
Tickled
for.
for an hour. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
Okay. Well, thing is, I can't really stand annoying laughs, and I hope my cousin's not listening to this because she might. But yeah. Hello to her anyway if she is listening. Okay, she's probably on a ferry she's probably on a ferry or boat to the Isle of Wight at the moment listening to this. No, but she laughs like this, and I'm sorry, she's probably going to hear this. It goes, yeah. I was like, I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's llamas being fed or it is something, right? Sorry if she's listening to this. She literally is going to kill me. Bless her.
I don't bring her business into this, man. Poor woman.
Yeah, poor girl. Yeah, sorry. So, no, I'm going to go for tickled for an hour.
Oh God. Okay.
Bless her. She's probably on a shift right now, and if she whenever she listens to it, she's going to be on a shift, guaranteed.
And
she's
here you
going to
are
be
just casually ripping
there,
out of her.
casually ripping out of her, and she's on a boat on the way to the Isle of Wight, and then she's like, "Oh, my cousin's great." Not
Fantastic. Amazing. Okay then. Last one. Would you rather school or the school of life?
Or would you rather school or school of life? Okay.
Yeah.
I would very happily, with all the experience I've accumulated, go for school of life. 110%.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. Full confidence. How about you?
You see, I actually, and this isn't pandering or being like,
No.
I actually still said school. My
Yeah.
school life absolutely sucked. It really sucked.
Mm.
But also outside of school, I didn't really learn that much because all I did was play video games in my room.
Okay.
If it wasn't for school, I wouldn't have left my house. So the school of life would have been everything taking place outside my bedroom window, which isn't great.
God, okay.
It wouldn't have been much of a life, at all. And also, school for me, this is the thing that I notice quite a few people do. School for me at least gave me an opportunity to, and college as well, got me an opportunity to meet people that I wouldn't usually meet.
Yeah.
Whereas school of life, again, this is my perspective, I think can often, unfortunately, bubble people. Can. And I know when I hear the narrative of School of Life, they're talking about their own area, right? They're not talking about maybe the whole world. They're not talking about everywhere and anywhere. They're talking about where they grew up. And so I'm thinking that was a part of an experience, right? That was a part of a total experience. So I like the idea of school, only because for me, if I go with the School of Life in my area and my experience there, I'm like, that was just outside my bedroom window.
No, that makes sense.
I'm not learning a lot there, apart from how fast 30 miles an hour is. That's it. Yeah. And when do the crows caw? So yeah, that would be my answer for sure. But those are the would you rathers, everyone. And that is the end of this episode. Have you had fun, Gigi?
I've had a lot of fun. In fact, I'd go out and say I really have fun doing these podcasts with you, but this one was extra fun.
Oh, it was super fun. It was a great time.
Super fun.
Yeah, it was great. Great. If any of you also had fun listening to this, or if you actually had some topics that you wanted to bring forward for us to discuss, then please email us at the GD Show at cityofbristol.ac.uk. So that's the GD Show at cityofbristol.ac.uk, or you can use our Gmail account, which is thegdshowbristol@gmail.com. Either one of those is great. Otherwise, it is a farewell from me.
And it's a farewell from Gigi.
And we'll see you next week. Have a good week, y'all. You've been listening to the G&D Show. Thank you very much. If you've got any comments or questions, or if you're a student at City of Bristol College and you want some one-to-one conversations with myself or Govinda, then please do email us at thegdshowbristol@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in another episode.